We are having the 5th session of Bhajagovindam, one of the hymns, very profound hymns written by Bhagavan Bhashyagar Adishankara Bhagavatpada. Before we get into the Bhajagovindam verses today, let us go through certain Vedantic concepts so that it will help us to go through the verses that we are going to cover. Shradha, in one way we can say, or the English word concentration, nearest word we can say as concentration or faith. Shradha is the power which is there within us that empowers from a Vedantic point of view. The Shradha that we are talking today is not about Shradha on the objects. It's all about Shradha on the power that is within us. Again, from the composition of Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya, the Viveka Chudamani, there Shradha is mentioned as Shastrasya Guru Vakyasya Satya Buddhyavadarana Sa Shradha Katida Sadbhi Yaya Vastu Upalabhyate. So Shradha is the inherent capacity which is within us. Shradha, inherent capacity to hold the truth, holding the truth, holdingness is Shradha. So when we say there is a higher power in all of us, within all of us, Shradha is the faith with a view of investigating the truth of what is told. So the realized souls talk about the anandam or the realization that they are undergoing. What one has to do from the knowledge from them, one has to investigate. The Shishya has to investigate the truth that is told. So that is where the deep rational thinking is needed. Satya Buddhyavadarana. So ascertaining through reason. Ascertaining through reason the truth of what is taught. So when that faith makes us forge ahead to experience the truth, that becomes Shradha. Shradha is one way we can say that by which the truth is realized. Sa Shradha Kadida Sadbhi Yaya Vastu Upalabhyate. So that by which the truth is realized. So the urge to experience the truth, it becomes Shradha. So this is a positive attitude, right? When we say even in our material life, when we encounter with different things in the day-to-day life, or if you see any of the discoveries or the innovations in the field of science, what is really needed? That there is a deeper positive attitude to find the thing, right? So every invention or discovery is based on such an action, such an attitude we can say. So similarly, when we talk about this Shradha, today's topic is all about the inward journey. We are not talking about science. So here the topic is the divine truth hidden in all of us. In our Hridaya Kuharam, the truth. We all are divine beings. So that is where our Guru and Shastram says. Every Shastram says that. Every Sanatana Dharma Grantha says that. So how will we experience that truth? So before experiencing what one needs the belief in their words and make the belief true by our own realization. That is where jnanam becomes vijnanam. Jnanam is all about the jnanam is all about the coded facts. Right? Scriptures or the Guru Vajanam, they all talk about the fact. So that fact has to become the vijnanam. That fact has to become the wisdom. In Chatusloki Bhagavatam, Bhagavan says, Jnanam parama bhuhyam me yat vijnana samanyudam. So that belief. So when we want to know that truth, first we have to believe in the words of the Guru and Shastra and make that belief true by our own realization. So in a nutshell, we can say Shraddha is all about the capacity to convert that belief into truth and conviction. Here the Bhagavan Bhashyakaran says this term as the astikya buddhi. So it's all about the positive attitude that I mentioned before. Positive attitude or the positive attitude oriented reasoning. So Shraddha becomes a tool ultimately. If you go back to the 4th chapter, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yogam of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the verse number 39. Shraddhavan labhade jnanam tatpara samyadendriya jnanam labdva param shantim achirenadi gacchadi. So what makes the human being different is this Shraddha. Inherently everyone is having this divinity, and the power of Shraddha makes everything possible. Swami Vivekananda talks a lot about the power of concentration, the Shraddha, and the power of concentration as the cause of all successes, the cause of all growth and strength. We can say this as a cardinal virtue. So to develop Shraddha, what one has to do is all about increasing the Sattvika Karmam, all proper actions we have to do. And it should not be something like actions based on our likes and dislikes. We have to act in life with a balanced mental state through the acceptance of, through acceptance. I would say the tidiksha. Through tidiksha, one has to have the samatva sthiti. Bhagavan again in Gita says, samatvam yoga uchyate. Through the acceptance of the things as it is, non-comparison in life, having humility, having devotion. So whatever endeavors we do on a daily basis, we should ensure that we are reducing the karma bhala or the karma malam, we can say. Karma bhala as well as karma malam. Raga, dvesha, kartrutva, bhoktrutva. These are the karma malam coming. Karma bhalam, I'm not saying we have to reduce the karma bhalam, because we need karma bhalam, but karma bhalam will also introduce the karma malam in the form of attachment, aversion, enjoyership, doership, raga, dvesha, kartrutva, bhoktrutva. So Shraddha is the topic here. Shraddha, how Shraddha will happen? As I mentioned, the Sattvika Karma, when we increase the Sattvika Karma, proper actions, the right actions, Shraddha will start increasing in us. And it happens only through the disciplining. the proper discipline that happens to the mind. It happens through the proper integration of the mind. It happens through the proper channelization or the utilization of our mind. In Lalita Sahasranamam, we can see the three Shaktis: Ichcha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti. Ichcha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Surupini. Devi is praised as the embodiment of the three Shaktis. Power to desire, Ichcha Shakti. Kriya Shakti, power to act. And Jnana Shakti, the power to know. So developing focus, developing the self-integration, developing the values for what? To increase the Shraddha. And when we say increasing the Shraddha or increase in Shraddha, what happens is basically we are creating the mind to reduce the distractions. So Shraddha ultimately brings the knowledge to do the anavarana, because the mind is now cluttered. The mind has got different layers around it. So what happens when Shraddha triggers in us? Shraddha will reduce the anavaranam and introduce the jnana-shakti. So what are the ways to increase Shraddha? Increasing Shraddha only through three ways: Shravanam, Mananam and Dhyanam. Consistent and proper inquiry into the scriptures, systematic study over a period of time, over an extended period of time, and it should not stop also. And it should be under the guidance of a realized Guru. Here, Bhagavan Bhashyakara, he is our Guru, realized soul, Shrotriyan, Brahmanishtan. Bhajagovindam as the scripture, Jagat Guru, Adi Shankaracharya as the Guru. And who has to do the further efforts? Mananam. Mananam you yourself should do. Reflection or the clarification and asking questions on this codified knowledge. Questions will come, you need to clarify it, you need to ask questions, you need to reflect. And once those phases are covered, that is where the real dhanam happens. Dhanam is not just closing the eyes and doing the meditation. Dhanam is all about assimilation of this knowledge that you got through the Shravanam and Mananam. So that is where the clarity comes in us. Clarity is all about the self. Who truly are you? When the mind cooperates, when the mind has more swatika buddhi, ultimately mind will be able to transcend all the layers which are there around and come straight to the core, to the self. That is where there is no suffering or any grief. And this state is always there within us. That Atman, that intelligence is always there, every time, at all times. And that is the only possibility in us to give satisfaction and happiness. The inherent joy, because our true nature itself is that. So, Shraddha is needed for this. Shraddha is needed for discovering the self. In fact, it is not a discovery, it is all about recognize that. Let us see what happens in all of us every day. Right? We are daily undergoing the three avasthas: Jagrat, Swapnam and Sushupti. What happens in the deep sleep? You are not in contact with the body, mind, intellect, senses. You are not in contact with objects. You are not in contact with your mind and your emotions. You are not having thoughts. And in deep sleep, we enjoy the bliss. You are in the Paramanandam. So that is very clear. All sorrows, right? Whatever sorrows that happen in our life, those sorrows are not there in the deep sleep. So all sorrows in our life, then we can say that are due to the identification with the body, mind, intellect, sense complex. Correct? Now what is happening? We are always wrongly understanding ourselves as the mind, body, intellect, senses, thoughts, identifying wrongly as an ego, identifying wrongly as the I am the karta, I am the bhokta. So in the deep sleep, when there are no objects to perceive or when there are no objects to experience, what is happening? You are in the state of Atman, you are in the state of that self, because everything is plunging into this reality, including body, mind, intellect, senses. Everything is plunging into this reality. And there are no objects to experience or perceive. You are with that self. No, there is no vikshepam, there is no vishayam, there is no layers there. There is no experience there. But it is not in our knowledge, because though we are enjoying the bliss, there is tamas, there is avidya there. So now what we need is basically, with this comparison of the state, one has to really come out of the avidya. For that we need Shradha. Shradha about what? Shradha about your true nature. And who are you? You are the objectless awareness. This is your true nature. You are this objectless awareness called as the Brahman. That awareness should be there every time. You are the objectless awareness. This Shradha about your true nature, to be aware of our true nature. Who truly are you? So this is the Shruti Vakyam. What is our purpose of life? Purpose of life is realization of the self. And that self and the thought of the self should be 24/7. That is where the Shraddha plays a role. 24/7 awareness of the self. And what is the purpose? Purpose is all about realization of the self. So we can say purpose, capital P is equal to P minus D. Capital P is equal to small p minus D. Capital P is purpose, small p right hand side, small p is the potential, and D is the distraction. So purpose is equal to potential when there are no distractions. When minus D, that term itself is not there. Purpose is equal to potential. You are with that. So that is where the state of samatvam comes. That is where the state of zero distraction comes. And the entire karma yogam is all about reducing the distraction to zero. With complete devotion, with the meditative mind, with the chitta shuddhi, with the ekagrata, with the shraddha, capital P is equal to small p. Your purpose is equal to potential. D will come, the small d will come when the mind is not having ekagrata, when the mind is not having shraddha, when the mind is operating in the world. When the mind starts operating in the self, the term D will become 0. So, small d is all about the distraction. Small d is all about the distractions introduced by the mind in the form of attachment, aversion, enjoyership, doership, ego, etc. The mind should not be bothered about the doership. The mind should be bothered about doing. Mind should not be bothered about enjoyership. Mind should not be bothered about aversion, attachment. Irrespective of that, the mind should have the chitta shuddhi. Because when we operate in this world, the karma malam, which I mentioned, karma malam will come. If you are not accumulating it, we can say the chitta ekagrata is there, chitta shuddhi is there. So, Shradha is very much needed. Faith in the self, not in the ego. Shradha is not in the ego. Shradha is in your real self. Align your actions and all your endeavors, including the thoughts, including the decisions, including the kind of work that you do in your day-to-day life. Align with your genuine self. Don't try to compare with the external expectations or societal pressures. Don't bother about the perfectionism and comparisons in life. And also, when you operate in this world, you will have a lot of uncertainties in life. So that is where we need to embrace the vulnerabilities in life. We should be open enough to, embrace the challenges. But you operate from, or you align your actions and decisions and thoughts and all the activities with your genuine self. Act with authenticity, act with self-compassion, act with the true purpose in life. Just ensure that capital P is equal to P minus D, where D is 0. This is the whole purpose of life. That is what Bhajagovindam teaches us. It is not asking us to run away from anything, but have this Shradha. Towards the perfection which is already there within us, the truth which is there within us. Have this Shradha towards. Automatically the term D, P is equal to P minus D, that D will become 0. When you reflect on your core values, when you reflect upon your true self and know the true purpose in life, as what? As the realization of the self. With that, let us go to verse number, I think till 12 we covered last Sunday. 13, verse number 13 of Bhajagovindam. Kate kanta dhanagada chinta Vatula kim tava nasti niyanta Trijagadi sajjana sangati reka bhavati bhavarnavatarane nauka bhajagovindam bhajagovindam gōvindaṃ bhajamūಢamate kāte kānta dhanagada chinta vātula kim tava nasti niyanta trijagati sajjana sangadireka bhavati bhavarnava tarane nauka. So here this verse again reminds us to prioritize the spiritual gods, the kind of devotion that we need, the kind of understanding that we should have in terms of overcoming the transient material concerns that we carry in our daily life. So here Kanta, when we say Kanta as the term here, it can represent wife or husband or sense objects or objects that attract us. So here Kate Kanta, why are you so worried about the Kanta? It can be all these three elements: spouse, wealth, and objects that attract us. Kate Kanta dhanagata chinta. Dhanam is all about wealth, spouse, wealth, and the objects that you are always looking to make you happy. Trijagati sajjana sangati rega bhavati bhavarnava tarane nauka. Right. So why are you not going above all these petty objects? Why are you not going? And the Trijagati sajjana sangati rega. What will help us in life is in all three worlds, only the association with good people. We saw this. Satsangate nissangatvam, nissangate nirmohatvam, nirmohate nischalatatvam, nischalatatve jivan muktiṃ. This was one of the previous verses. So what one has to look at is the association with the good people, association with the good systems. That will enable you to grow. That will only save you. Bhavati bhavarnava tarane nauka. So here the boat to cross the sea. Sea is all about the sea of life, sea of the world, the sea of the changes that you undergo. So the boat that will allow you to cross the sea of the challenges, to cross the ocean of worldliness, is jnanam that you get out of the satsangam, that you get out of the sajjana sangati, sajjana samsarga. So what is referred here? Make effort to gain this knowledge, to gain the knowledge of the Atma, to gain the knowledge of your true self. Atma jnanam as the end goal here. So what one has to do? Make the mind conducive, make the mind positive, make the mind pure, make the mind powerful. Fill all the moments in life with that God's love, with that Atma, with that closeness of the Atma, because that Atma is not something outside. That closeness, fill every moment with that closeness. Bhagavan in Chatusloki Bhagavatam says, Bhagavan sarvabhutanam adhyaksho avasthido guham. So have that closeness, because Lord is within you. You become blessed with that God's love and closeness every moment in your life. Trijagati sajjana sangati rega bhavati bhavarnava tarane nauga. So strive to reach to this state. Ensure that your mind is overcoming all the problems. Ensure that the mind is conducive enough to equip this knowledge to cross the ocean of worldliness, and jnana arjanam is the important. Jnanam about your own self, atma jnanam. So Trijagati Sajjana Sankatirega Bhavati Bhavarnava Tarane Nauka. So that is what the verse number 13 says. Go beyond all the petty objects. And the higher purpose in life is capital P. And you know the potential and avoid all the distractions. Make a positive mind. Bring the virtues in the mind. The Devi Sambat, the nobler virtues. And with the knowledge, you cross the ocean of the troubles. Verse number 14. Jadilo mundi lunchita kesha kashayambara bahukruta vesha pashyannavi chana pashyati modho hi udara nimittam bahukruta vesha Bhajagovindam Bhajagovindam gōvindaṃ bhaja muktiṃ. Okay. From the 14th verse onwards, we are now getting into the Dvadasha Manchirika Stotra. That is the first 2 plus 12 plus the next 14. As I mentioned in the beginning, these 14 verses are contributed by Jagadguru's Shishyagana, right? The disciples. So here this verse, Jadilo mundi lunjita kesha kashayambara bahukruta vesha pashyannavi cha na pashyati mudha hi udara nimittam bahukruta vesha. So we can see people with knotted hair, with mundana meaning with shaven head, and lunjita kesha meaning few with hair pulled out, then kashayam meaning the saffron. People, few are clothed in saffron. Bahukruta vesha. So again, at others in various colors. For what? He udara nimittam bahukruta vesha. Udara nimittam meaning for their livelihood. Right? For their livelihood, people dress up in different ways. Maybe some follow particular style. And when it comes to the world of sannyasis, you can see different representations or different ways of showing that lineage. Bhagavan Bhashyakaran, what he says here is all about not criticizing about any of those things. What one has to understand is, don't get carried away. Here an unintelligent man gets carried away by these different representations that people use without seeing the reality behind. Why I am saying is because the 5th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Karma Sannyasa Yoga, Bhagavan clearly says Jnanam Sannyasa Lakshana. So Jnanam is the Lakshanam of a sannyasi. And sannyasam is not a state. Sannyasam is not something that after 80 years or after 90 years or only few people will become sannyasi and all. Sannyasa Lakshanam is Jnanam. And the Jnanam is all about the inner state. Inner state of enlightenment. Inner state of enlightenment and not getting affected with anything. The inner state of detachment and enlightenment, in one way we can say. The inner state of renunciation of ego, inner state of renunciation of the desires, the inner state of renunciation of the material world objects. So it is not just adopting a physical appearance as a symbolism of a renunciant. This is Jnanam Sannyasa Lakshana, because this has to be an inner change or an inner transformation without over any outward conformity. This is all about the inner state of equanimity, the inner state of detachment, not affected by the ragadvesha kartrutva bhoktrutva. Bhagavan in the 5th chapter, the 3rd verse, Jnēya sa nitya sannyasi yo na dveshti na kaṅkshati nirdvando hi mahabāho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. So, Jnēya sa nitya sannyasi yo na dveshti na kaṅkshati nirdvando hi mahabāho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. This is all the inner renunciation characterized by freedom from attachment and aversion. So don't get influenced by the attire and style and all those things. What is very much needed is the knowledge, and that knowledge is all about knowing the true self, and through that one experiencing the state of enlightenment and renounce all the desires, ego, attachment, etc. to the material world. And this is the inner state of equanimity. This is the inner state of detachment. Verse number 15. Angam galidam palidam mundam daśanavihīnaḥ jādam tundam vruddho yādi grihitva dandam tadabina munchati āśā pindam Bhajagovindam Bhajagovindam gōvindaṃ bhaja mūಢamate. Angam galidam palidam mundam daśanavihīnaḥ jādam tundam vruddho yādi grihitva dandam tadavi na munchati āśā pindam. Angam galidam palidam mundam. So these all are the changes happening in the human body. Body is becoming worn out. Body, or if you see the head or the hairs becoming grey, and toothless scenario. Mouth is not having tooth. And vruddho yadi grihitva dandam. During the old age, the dependence on a support, probably a stick or a crutch or whatever is. Vruddho yadi grihitva dandam tadapi na munchati āśā pindam. But irrespective of the deteriorations happening in the body, mind, intellect, senses, etc., the prevailing desire in the man to cling to the bundles of desires and material world objects, clinging to the family, clinging to the bundles of desires, and the power of desire to enjoy things, enjoy the sense objects. These all are uncontrollable, irrespective of the situations, right? If you see the deteriorations happening in the body, if you see the different states that the body undergoes, asti, jayade, varthade, viprinamade, apakshiyade, vinashyadi. At some point of time, the body will fall. But what happens is basically the delusive power of Maya is very immense. That is where the power of desire to enjoy things, consistent enjoyment needed out of the sense objects. This is becoming an uncontrollable factor in human beings. So what Bhagavad says here is this delusive power of Maya should be known. It is very immense. One has to build the attitude of the non-attachment in the early days of our life. When we say non-attachment, not depending on the objects for the sense gratification, for you to be happy. Doesn't mean that you need to run away from the things in life. It is not about running away. It is all about developing an attitude of non-attachment towards the objects. And that should happen in the early days of our life. Vrutho yadi grihitva dandam tadabina munjadi acha. Verse number 16. Agre vanni prishte bhanu ratrau chubuga samarpida janu karatala bhikshas tarutala vasa tadabina munjadi asha pasha. Agre vanni prishte bhanu ratrau chubuga samarpida janu karatala bhiksha tarutala vasa tadabi na munjadi asha pasha. Asha pasha na munjadi. So this here Bhashyakaran talks about the about a sannyasi. If you see agrevanni meaning the fire which is used to come out of the cold. Prishte bhanu meaning backside the sun. Ratrau chubuga samarpida janu. So you must be knowing for a sannyasi don't try to gather things up front. So here those sannyasis who are not depending upon the external things, but what happens in this verse, an example of a sannyasi who depends on those things, the natural things in day-to-day life, but not having the control of the mind, not having the control over the sense objects, having delusion and showing that I am a sannyasi. So such a person is called as a hypocrite, who is showing these things but not able to control the organs. It is easy for me to bring a verse from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, 6th verse. Karma Yoga. Karmendriyani samyamya ya aste manasasmaran indriyarthan vimūಢātma mityāchāra sa uchyate. So such a person is a mithyāchāra sa uchyate. So the one who has not got a good control. The rope of desire is tightly bound. Such a person is called as a hypocrite. Vimūಢātma sa uchyate, mithyāchāra sa uchyate. The one who has no control of the mind, the one who has no control of the senses. There is no mano niyandranam and the indriya nigraham. So, if you see the analogy of a water tank, if there is a small hole and the water leaks through the hole, irrespective of the size of the tank, right? At some point of time, the entire water will come out. There is a hole which cannot be prevented, which cannot be controlled. Similarly, the mental control and the sense control is not there. What will happen? Ultimately, the trace of worldly attachment is governing the mind. And you call yourself as a sadhaka, but ultimately what happens is the capital P is equal to P minus D. D will be more. So you will drift away from the true purpose. You are governed by the worldly attachment. You are governed by the worldly things. The rope of desire is bounded. Has tightly bounded this person. So this verse is talked or used from the context of a yogi, where such a yogi who has no control of the sense and mind is a kapada yogi, he is a hypocrite. So this is not the real tapas. Such a person is not executing the real tapas. He is disturbed. Distractions of mind is prevailing there. Verse number 17. Kurute gaṅgāsāgaragamanaṃ vrata-paripālanamathavā dānam jñānavihīnaḥ sarvamatēna muktiṃ bhajati na janmaśatēna Bhajagovindam gōvindaṃ bhaja mūಢamate. So gaṅgāsāgaragamanaṃ kurute. So what happens? You all know, in our culture we go for pilgrimage, we go to sacred places, we go to temples, we do the Ganga Snanam, we often go to pilgrimage to the river Ganga, we go to the Sagaram, right? We go to the ocean, we do the Tarpanam, we do the Shradha Karma, we do the devotional things, we travel a lot, we go often for these pilgrimages, right? And sometimes we observe fasting, right? Or sometimes we give away our wealth to charity. So here Bhagavan Bhashyakarana is not denying this. We should do, but ultimately jñānavihīnaḥ sarvamatēna. So jñānavihīnattvam. See, if you don't have the jnanam about the true self, jiva brahma aikya jnanam, this is what here it is mentioned. Muktiṃ bhajati na janmaśatēna. If you don't have this knowledge, you will not attain liberation. Even if you have hundreds of births and deaths, and if you do all this just for the sake of all this, observing fast and giving charity and go for ritual or do the ritualistic worship. So these all are integral part of our lifestyle in any religion. These all are very much integral, and these all are the primary aspects of sadhana. Correct. We are going to Ganga and do a holy dip, or going to Kashi temple, Rameshwaram, etc. Right? We all do that. Also the different austerities, if you see Ekadashi or different occasions, we do the fasting, we do the chanting continuously. Ultimately, these all are for what? These all are for purifying the mind. Even giving charity also. And this, when we give, we say idam na mama. This is not mine. I am just giving it for the betterment of others. Why we do? Because we are trying to do a pious act in terms of purifying the mind again. So here, please understand, these all are milestones in that path of capital P. The real purpose. These all are not the destination itself. You don't get stuck. The end is reached only through the Atma Jnanam. These all are the paths that will help. These all are the enablers. I'll try to bring another 3 verses from Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the chapter Vishwarupa Darshana Yogam, the verses 53, 54, 55. Bhagavan here clearly says, neither by the study of the Vedas, nor by the penance, nor by doing charity, nor by worshipping, nor by doing some work, one can realize the self, one can see me. That's what Bhagavan Krishna says to Arjuna. See me in the infinite form within you. What is needed is, here the verse says, Naham vedair na tapasa na dānena na cha ijjaya shakya evam vido drashtum drishtavanasi mam yada bhaktya tu ananyaya shakya aham evam vidorjuna jñātum drashtum cha tattvena praveshtum cha parantapa. Not stopping there again. Mat karma krit mat paramo mat bhakta sangha varjita nirvaira sarvabhūteshu yasamameti pandava. So, hey Arjuna, not just by studying Vedas or doing these rituals or by worshipping alone will help them to see me in this infinite form. Only through unalloyed devotion, ananya bhakti, I can be known as I am. You will be knowing me. I standing before you, you will see me within. How? Only through ananya bhakti, devotion without any otherness in the mind. Meaning the term minus D should be 0. There should not be any space for ego or egocentric desires. Mind totally absorbed in devotion, that's Shraddha. You will come to me, you will know me. Jñātum drashtum cha tattvena. You know me, you see, and you see me as the tattvam. You see me as the reality, tattvamasi, the state of tattvamasi, the state of consciousness. You will directly experience me, hey Arjuna. So what you should do, what you should continue to do, mat karma krit mat paramo mat bhakta sangha varjita nirvaira sarvabhūteshu yasamameti pandava. So those who perform all duties for my sake, who depend upon me and devoted to me, who are free from nirvaira sarvabhudeshu, who are free from attachment and who are without enmity towards all beings, they come to me, they know me. So he says, Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. So these all are the enablers. Don't get confused. These enablers as the end goal. Swami Vivekananda says, each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest this divinity within. How? By controlling nature, external and internal. So do this either by work, worship, or psychic control, or philosophy, by one or more or all of these, and be free. This is the whole of religion. Doctrines or dogmas or rituals or books or temples or anything, any other thing are, but they all are secondary details. They all are the enablers. Ultimately, one has to have a clarity of the real purpose in life. These verses are enabling us to create Shradha, Bhakti and Jnanam. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.